Happy New Year, Snow.
Happy New Year?
Well,
Like
for,
it's a
for the
question,
next 20 days, we're going to say Happy New Year. But we still
right?
can.
Like I was actually okay yesterday when we all went to dinner and everything.
Right.
Went out for a little bit. But then this morning it's like a million bricks fell from my ceiling on me while I was in bed.
Right, because since the election, you've been kind of like, meh, what happens, happens.
I've been having the greatest of times, and then today it was like, oh fuck, it's now
Yeah,
2025 and we only have 20 days left.
yeah, because you were one of those people that was just like, hey, fuck around and find out. You're going to find out. And now,
Okay, well, let's get something straight. I'm still going to do that. I'm planning on doing that. I'm just trying to make it feel right within my own body because my stomach's in knots today. It's just,
uh,
it's something that I have no control over. It's almost like it's an outside entity that has disrupted it. Maybe it's some sort of orange ghost. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen, and hopefully it's not. I mean, like we said, we could be totally wrong about
I hope
everything.
I'm wrong. I hope that I'm just being like a massive overthinker, like
Right.
which is my true traits, worry, wart. I've always been like that.
Yeah. I thought I would acclimate, so I ended up watching the Nashville New Year's Eve, just in case, the rednecks take over.
Yeah, but Nashville's pretty liberal. So
Yeah. But all the
they
country
didn't
music.
have no backwoods Tennessee places that they were live streaming from.
The funny thing about the Nashville New Year's Eve show was like all the cool ones, like Jelly Roll and Post Malone and Chris Stapleton were before midnight. And it was after midnight that the bad country music started.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, when you had Miranda Lambert and she was singing about she's trying to rhyme double wide with something.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like, why is Miranda Lambert singing a song about wanting to be with somebody in a double wide trailer? Like
Because,
Miranda Lambert would want to be with somebody in a double wide trailer.
boy, is she still like maybe all broken up because
From
Blake
Blake
Shelton
Shelton.
is now married to Gwen
No, she's
Stefani.
remarried. She married like a New York cop or something like that.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, why is she?
Well,
She
maybe she
see,
now she wants a redneck in a double wide.
that's the thing that kills me about the newer country. Like I like the old country because they seem to me like they were just Southern folks singing. But like the new country, some of them are okay, but some of them don't. Doesn't it seem like they like extra twang it up to
Yeah,
sound, and it's almost like exploitive because it's like not
yeah,
all people
yeah,
are like
yeah.
that from the
They had the
South.
one like right after midnight. They had the Lainey Wilson, and she kind of does that where she extra. You could tell she puts a little
Putting
bit
the
more
extra,
drawl into it
the
and
extra
stuff like
on
that. I'm not
there.
saying she can't sing, but she was doing a little bit extra.
Yeah, really twanging it.
I don't even know if she was from down south either. I don't know. There's one of them that isn't even from down south, but when you hear her do the music, she puts a real twang into her voice. But she's from like California or something. I don't forget which one it is.
Yeah, it's just strange.
But yeah, maybe we're wrong. Maybe. But we'll make the best of it.
That's why we're
Yeah.
doing a best of
Right, the
episode
best.
today.
Yeah. So in the year end, we do our Turkey Awards, which is actually far more popular than our year end, the best of. Like gives
Doesn't
telling
it
to
always go that way? Which
yeah.
I'm actually looking forward to the best of though, because despite my worry, I want to remain positive. I really do. It's just a struggle.
Yeah. So that being said, we did lose some people in 2024. We'll just review some of them. Shannon Doherty.
That was sad.
Yeah.
Brenda from 90210.
Brenda. Well, at least she's with
Luke Perry,
Luke Perry now.
right?
Yeah. Together. James Earl Jones. That was a tough one for me.
Luke, I am your father.
Darth Vader's my favorite villain of all time.
Really?
Yeah.
I liked the Star Wars movies, but I was always afraid of Darth Vader.
Yeah. Shelley Duvall.
Oh, from The Shining.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one. I forgot that she died.
She had a sad story too. Hollywood kind of just kind of ate her up, and then she kind of lost her mind there over the last few years. Donald Sutherland.
Kiefer's dad died?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Where have I been? Off of social media, obviously.
Yeah, I see what you miss.
I know. I miss all the news.
Dr. Ruth.
Dr. Ruth Wessenheimer?
Dr. Ruth, wasn't that one? That's one of the ones, though, you go, she was still alive?
Right?
I mean,
I thought she might have died years ago.
She looked like she was 80 when she was 50.
Did she make it all the way to 100?
I don't know how old she was.
The sexpert.
Yeah. Morgan Spurlock. He's kind of the one that started all the food documentaries.
The one on McDonald's, Super Size Me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a great documentary.
That one turned me off from McDonald's.
Oh, yeah, I know. I quit I shouldn't say I quit, for good, but I think after watching that, I bet you I have only been to McDonald's maybe 5 times. No lie. After seeing that.
I don't think I've been to other than no. That's
emergency situations where you're in a place.
Yeah, I went once and got a sausage muffin because it was.
Yeah.
I was hungry and wanted some breakfast, but other than that, no. Purposely went to McDonald's. It's been 4 years or so.
Yeah.
5, and then even that, it was another 4 or 5 before that one. Quincy Jones.
Yeah, that was sad. I just heard that one. He recently died, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one was a big one for me because my mom always loved him. Chris Christopherson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I was raised on all that old school country music, the Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, Waylon, Chris Christopherson.
The good stuff.
Yeah.
I am in a picture with Waylon Jennings.
I'll have to see that.
It's at my sister's house. My sister has it because Waylon's actually hugging my sister because she was the younger one. And I'm standing there in my Girl Scout uniform because we got invited to go on the Wallace and Ladmo show. It was this show back in the day.
Oh my God.
Do you remember
Wallace
it?
And Ladmo show was like the height of childhood if you got on that show.
So my Girl Scout troop got to get on it. My sister pissed me off so bad. She got to go, obviously, because, my mom had to bring both of us. She wins a fucking Ladmo bag and gets hugged by Waylon Jennings. I'm like, what am I, chopped liver? That was, in all fairness, that was when I went through my Annie phase and I had Annie haircut.
You had an Annie haircut?
When I saw the movie, I was like, Mom, I've got to get that hairdo, and I have to have that.
The short perm.
So they went and cut all my hair off, gave me a perm, and then right after I got turned around in the chair, I was like, Mom, why would you let me do this?
Did you go around singing "The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow"?
No, but I thought Annie was a badass. I can't sing, but I thought she was so cool.
Well, hold on to that. After January 20th, you can just wake up every morning. The sun will come out tomorrow.
Or ho ho ha ha hee hee ha ha.
That's the Wallace and Ladmo.
That's the positive morning song to get you going.
Right? And they played the best cartoons. And in the picture is also Shooter Jennings. He's in the picture too. He was little. He was littler. I think he's couple of years younger than my sister too.
Yeah.
He was just a little tiny
Then he
guy.
grew up and he married Adriana from The Sopranos.
Yeah, I think they ended. I don't think they're married now though, are they?
But they had a kid together.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was my childhood. And then we get to the big one that just happened, Jimmy Carter.
Rest in power.
Yeah, we'll start off with Jimmy Carter as our first on the list of the good people. 100 years old. He hung in there to vote for Kamala Harris.
Mm-hmm.
He held on long enough, unfortunately. And that probably just is what broke him. He probably just, in his mind, woke up one day and was just like, oh, I really don't want to watch this again. And just gave up.
Well, he was 100 too. So, Like, is he our oldest living president then?
Yeah, he was the oldest.
I was gonna say, I don't think any of the other ones had made it to 100.
Well, I mean, that's got to be the pressure of that job. It's got to take years off your, well, not for...
He only had a 4-year term.
Not for 47, I guess.
Yeah. The peanut farmer from Georgia.
Yeah. And then, people can debate his presidency and whatever, but there was a whole thing like Ronald Reagan secretly went behind the back and negotiated the terrorists to be, not the terrorists, I guess negotiated with the terrorists that hold him hostages and told him not to release the hostages until after he got into office.
The whole Iran-Contra affair. Yeah. That's how Reagan became our president. And yet, still, he does that dirty dog stuff and a bunch of other dirty dog stuff. And his, policies are still so popular today. And that's what's, shrinking the middle class. Those policies are shrinking the middle class and turning it more into the poor versus rich.
Right. He's also the one that started the fake news.
Yeah?
I mean, the real fake news that, the media
fairness doctrine.
Yeah.
The removal of it.
Which allowed Fox to come back, and be like, okay, well, you don't really have to be truthful in what you say.
Yeah, every time I think of that and Fox, I always think of Anchorman Part 2 when they say the line, why do we have to tell the people what they want, what they need to hear? Why can't we tell them what they want to hear? And I'm like, that literally is our media. And they're like, we'll just add some flashy graphics. And they do have all that shit on there to make news exciting.
Yeah. Hey,
news is supposed to be boring.
I still have not turned on the news in almost 2 months.
Me either.
Even given the news story today, there was a news story about a terrorist attack, last night. But I was kind of just like, usually I would turn on the news and be like, okay, and I was just like, don't do it.
Yeah.
And don't turn it on. Yeah, doom scroll instead.
I can't. I'm having a hard time even what was I looking up yesterday? Oh, I was looking up to try to figure out because we were talking about the Trump cologne that he's pitching. So I had to look up what the name of that was. And there's comments on that. There was an article about...
Isn't it named Fight, Fight, Fight? Something like that.
Yes. I think there's one named Fight, 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 but there's another one named Victory. They have the victory for men and then the victory for women.
What do you think that smells like? Gunpowder? Gun oil?
Or maybe according to Adam Kinzinger, it would smell like ketchup, BO, sunless tanner,
with a hint of orange peel,
farts, yeah, and zest of orange. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so Jimmy Carter was just a genuinely nice person, and as long as he could, he was still building houses for the needy and stuff. Habitat for
Humanity, yeah. Another fun fact that Jimmy Carter actually did. When I went to Panama on one of my birthday trips, we took the bus tour that goes into Old Town, and so they kind of give you history lessons too, when you're driving along, because there's statues of former leaders of their country. And he was sitting there talking about, our tour guide was like, Jimmy Carter was the president that actually gave the Panama Canal to Panama. Which I'm like, it's amazing that it finally happened then, though. I mean, the damn thing's only named the Panama Canal.
Well, I mean, that's for
why wouldn't it be?
That's for another 20 days until we invade Panama.
Well, right.
And take it over again.
Yeah, because now, and fun fact too. So when I'm there, they were like, the tour guide goes, "You see that? If you look over to your left, you'll see that big hotel. It's a brand new hotel, but it's not open. It looks like it's shaped like a sailboat." And he goes, "If you notice, there's no name on it. We call that the no-name hotel." He goes, "It was supposed to be the Trump Hotel. But then he started running for president. So we found that that was a conflict of interest and didn't allow him to build his hotel here anymore. And I'm like, whoa, have you guys ever thought of telling that to America? Because he's got Trump hotels all over the fucking place there.
So after Jimmy Carter, get to Willie Nelson. So, and Willie
Nelson.
Willie, when the tie-in, Willie Nelson famously went up on the roof and was smoking pot at the White House.
With Jimmy Carter?
I don't think Jimmy Carter was.
Oh,
maybe
damn.
Billy Carter might have been involved.
That would have been so cool.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a good hang. Jimmy Carter and Willie Nelson.
Right?
Especially if they're smoking pot.
Yeah, I mean, think of how much you could learn from the both of them. All the stories.
Didn't Jimmy Carter, get back to him, didn't he put solar panels on the top of the White House?
He did, and that's another thing that Reagan did when he got into office. He tore him off. Tore him right off. Like, day one.
Yeah, so, I mean, this whole global warming thing's been going on for a while.
Could you? Oh, yeah, like, back in the day, like, a lot of the music artists used to write songs about it. Like, the one that I can think of right off the top of my head, Neil Young's After the Gold Rush. I mean, he's talking about Mother Nature being on the run, you know, like, and he even says, like, in the 1970s, it's like they already were talking about it then. Can you imagine how much further we might be now if the solar panels would have stayed on the White House and we would have gone more that direction,
right?
If the planet would be healthier?
And what if Shell was investing in renewable energy back then?
They would still be billionaires today because they would, like, hold the market down on that.
Right, and because a big reason why Jimmy Carter lost was because there was a gas crisis, right? And the gas prices had gotten so high during his administration.
So he wanted to be an innovator and come up with new sources of energy.
Yeah.
But people are afraid of change, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'd also jump back to Willie Nelson for a second, and we'll jump back and forth between these two. Willie Nelson had some health issues this year, and he had to, not cancel some shows.
Nothing a little weed can't cure, though, right?
Yeah, now he comes out, but, still touring his late 90s, and, I don't know how much longer we'll have Willie around, but...
Don't say that!
Willie was also great because he's a progressive, and he doesn't give a fuck that, some people in the country music...
And you know what? I don't think his fans really give a fuck either, quite honestly. I haven't heard people talking shit about Willie Nelson.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's sort of like Dolly Parton. Like, what's not to like about him?
Right. Well, I mean, so even my thing, like, you know how, like, folks on the right will, like, freak out? Like, they've even done it to Bruce Springsteen, for fuck's sakes. They're like, oh, I don't like him anymore. I'm like, hey, fuckers. Like, I think that Kid Rock is a douche, don't get me wrong. But I will always like the Sheryl Crow song the duet with Sheryl Crow, and that All Summer Long song. I'm like, I'm not going to hate those songs because he's a douche. Like, it seems stupid to me, you know? I'm still going to listen to those songs in my playlist. You know what I mean? Fuck y'all.
It was also cool that I saw, this was after Carter was out of office, but his daughter Amy wanted to go see the Maroons. But Secret Service didn't think it would be good for her to go to a Ramones show.
What?
So the Ramones played a private concert for Jimmy and Amy Carter back in 1983.
Lucky.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That would be, how fucking cool would that be?
All right, so moving on down the list. Even though she didn't win, we have to give a mention to Kamala Harris. And
Kamala.
Tim Walz. Kamala Harris. Yeah. Kamala Harris.
And Tim Walz.
And Tim Walz.
Mind your own damn business.
Mind your own damn business.
That was my favorite thing about it. I'm like, dude, we would be so much better off if people would do that.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't think the campaign got a fair shake on it. You had the inflation and everything, and we all understand that. And all the coulda, wouldas. Maybe Biden should have dropped out earlier. Maybe, who knows?
Here's the thing, though, about the inflation. Was it really inflation? I mean, because...
Well, it's inflation.
If you looked at, the price, let's talk about the price of eggs. Wasn't that more of the bird flu?
Yeah.
So, I hope that I really do hope this too. I hope that within the next 20 days, that bird flu is solved so that our egg prices do drop. Who doesn't want cheaper eggs?
Yeah. I mean, this is why we're in this situation. So.
I mean, and then the rest of it is more of like greedflation. The companies that have made their money back and they're not going to lower the prices. Not when they know that they can get people to pay the higher prices. That's kind of, isn't that kind of like business 101?
Yeah. I mean, the one that I always use is like a 16-ounce soda. It used to be 99 cents. Now it's $2.79 or something like that.
$2.79?
Yeah. Now, no matter what happens with gas prices, whether they go down, that 16-ounce soda is always going to be $2.79 because consumers are used to paying that.
Right.
So it's never going to come back. Even Trump came out and said, it's going to be hard to bring the price of groceries down again once they go up.
I know. He's like warning them, like, don't get mad at me. And here's the thing. He's right, though. That's all he has to say. His people are not going to get mad at him over it, though. They're going to be like, he's doing the greatest things ever. Our country has never been doing better.
Even though he said during the campaign, it's very easy. I will bring the prices down.
Even if they lose their homes over it, and they're still never going to blame him. Yeah. Like, if we go into a recession that's that bad again, where people are losing their houses, they're going to figure out a way to blame Democrats, even though the Democrats have zero power.
But we put Harrison Wallace on this list just because for a few months they gave us hope. Like when we went to that Harris Wallace rally in Vegas, it was just such a great feeling, positive energy.
There was so much love, positivity. There was not like anger or hatred going on there. Everybody was in a good mood. There were people up and dancing.
Yeah. It was, you hadn't felt that since like 2008 when Obama was running.
Everyone was fucking nice to everyone in line. You had some people that, because it was in the summer in Las Vegas, you had some people who were getting too hot. You'd have like a swarm of people trying to fucking help this person out. Like, you need some water, you need some popsicles. They were...
Yeah.
It wasn't like where the other side people were passing out and no one seemed to give a shit,
Yeah. Well, a lot of that has to do with media because they treated Harris far worse than they treated Trump. Like, they would interview Trump and it'd be all softball questions, but in Harris, they were downright rude to her.
Grilling her over fracking after she answered the question how many times? Yeah. Like, she had answered it, like, you could even tell with her that she was getting frustrated. She's like, as I have said already numerous times, this is my stance on it.
But hey, we underestimated the American voter and the votes of young men. The dude bros.
Well, like with my own union, I mean, because that is like a personal thing that I saw firsthand. It was like, I told people, I was like, especially my mom, because she's like, what the fuck? And I was like, Mom, it hurts. It hurts, but this is how it is. Like, this is welcome to my world. I mean, I've expressed like, this kind of stuff before to you. I'm like, Did you think I was bullshitting? Like, this is how it is. I mean, day in the life.
Yeah.
It was not shocking to me at all. Yes, it still hurt, but it was not, I mean, because something like that is going to hurt, but not shocking at all.
Yeah.
And the worst part is that there's even some women within my union who are sexists. That's the real one that's just baffling and mind-blowing. You know? But the biggest part of it, hands down, and I was talking about this the other day, the reason why I was so heartbroken by it, and I will mention it again because we were talking about Kamala Harris. She was the deciding vote. The deciding vote. The Senate is made up of 50 Democrats, 50 Republicans. So the vice president is the deciding tie-breaking vote. She was the tie-breaking vote on saving Teamsters pensions, and you couldn't endorse her. The tie-breaking vote on saving our pensions. She voted to save them, and you could not endorse her. Sometimes there's some things where it's like there's no words.
It just doesn't make sense.
There's nothing I can say.
Next on the list, one of our friends who's been on the podcast many times, Sydney Irving. Sydney, who had a front page story on the Washington Post.
Huge shout out to Sydney.
And we'll give you this, Sydney. You're a bigger person than we are.
Sydney, I've always said this about Sydney. Sydney is probably one of the nicest, hands down nicest human beings I've ever met. Like, the fact that she can overlook so much in other people that
Right. Yeah.
I would consider faults is really amazing and something to show for.
Because we're like, fuck around and find out. And she's like, well, we should be compassionate to them, even though they're not on our side. And you and I are like, well, fuck them.
Well, I mean, like, I get that too. Like, I don't want to go out purposely be mean, but like, it's also like, yeah, but I do kind of want to do the fuck around and find out, because why is it that the rest of us are able to pay attention to certain things and other people it's lost on?
But it's just like you said, like Trump said, he promised to bring down the price of groceries. And then after he gets elected says, well, that's a very hard thing to do.
But these are the same people that sit there and bitch about our political process and how they're all liars and whatnot. But you believe that? You fucking believe that? Because he told you, oh, I'm an outsider. I'm trying to drain the swamp. No one's more of a fucking swamp monster than that guy.
Yeah, and this article did a really good job at describing Kingman, the people in Kingman. You know, good, bad, ugly, and the good people. You know, just and knowing Sydney, I'm surprised she had this, because Sydney, she's out there. She likes to make her voice heard. That she kept this like under wraps for like 2 months. You know, that this reporter hung with her off and on, you know, over a couple months.
I know.
Before that article came out.
Yeah. Yeah, hung out at her house.
Yeah.
I was like, yep, that's pretty much where we got our picture taken with the turkeys. Thanks for that too, Sid.
The only disappointing thing in that article, she could have name dropped us.
What?
She could have said, she could have given us a little shout out from the Washington Post.
Yeah, but the article was about her. Like, unless she was to say, sometimes you can catch me on the Reality Redemption podcast.
Exactly.
Voicing my,
that's all we need.
My opinions and my, you know, this is the way that you should handle things. My recommendations.
Yeah, just name drop us.
Now you're being selfish.
Well, I mean, we got to promote this thing.
Hey, way to go, though, Sid. You are you are a rock star.
Yeah. You know, and to the point, not all Republicans are bad. Our favorite Republican, Adam Kingsley.
Hands down, my favorite.
Yeah. Rock
Dude's
star.
funny. He barely fits in his suit. His muscles are so big.
Yeah. Good looking guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
You date him.
Yeah, but yeah. Yeah, if he was available. I'd be like, when in Illinois,
Yeah.
make sure I activate my Twitter location.
Yeah. He tried to warn Republicans, about what might happen.
He tried and lost his seat over it. I mean, that's why I thought it was funny, though, when he's like, when all this last stuff was happening, where they were trying to decide if they were going to shut the government down. And I think he made the comment, I am so glad that I'm not in Congress right now. This is the same old tired crap that they do. Just the stupid fighting and not getting shit done,
Yeah. So he's better off.
Why don't they have him as like, why don't they replace whoever that douche is that's on CNN that's the token?
Scott Jennings.
That guy is a douche. Why wouldn't you replace him with like an Adam Kinzinger that's like reasonable and still conservative? It's not like we don't need the conservative.
You want the alternative voice though to Scott Jennings. Scott Jennings went on and was bad mouthing Jimmy Carter the day after his death.
Whatever happened to respect the dead? Like, didn't they come down so hardcore on Democrats who were bad mouthing the shit that George H.W. Bush, like the shit that he had done? They were like all pissed off. How dare you say bad things about the dead?
I don't know.
But then it's okay to do it about Jimmy Carter.
Yeah. So next on the list, now you got Jeff Bezos, who's kissed the ring and gone over to the dark side.
He's even going to allow the streaming of the inauguration on Prime, folks.
Yeah. Hand Trump $1 million for the inauguration. But his ex-wife, Mackenzie Scott, gotta give her credit.
She's pretty much always been a badass.
Yeah.
Since probably even when they were still married, but we didn't know about it. But she's always made tons of donations.
Yeah, because those billions and billions and billions of dollars, you're never going to spend it.
Right.
So she gives it to good causes. And then Elon was criticizing her. And what did she do? She went down and doubled down on the donations.
What a badass.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, yeah, I mean, I think I'd do that too. If I was like a crazy billionaire, I would do that too. Because I'd be like, I'm not going to spend this. I would give it to good causes.
Well, that's kind of like, that kind of reminds me of like my whole thing. Remember when COVID happened and I was like, every time somebody talks shit to me online, I'm going to go make a donation. And I had to do it on my level, which was only like $25 donations. But you know what I mean? Like it was like, so I really appreciate that she did that. Fuck yeah, somebody talks shit to you, do that.
Yeah. Well, I did that too during even this year when people were giving me shit on my Instagram because we went to the Harris rally and they were calling me a communist. I made a donation to the Harris campaign in their name.
Yeah, right?
I mean, yeah, it was like only $5 or something like that, but...
Right.
In the same note, again, Taylor Swift,
Tay-Tay.
Yeah. She continues, her world tour went on this year, and in every city she would donate millions and millions of dollars to homeless food banks for the homeless, other good causes and stuff like that.
And encouraging her fans to register to vote. She didn't sit there and tell them how to vote. She just said, you should register to vote.
Yeah, just find the candidate you believe in, register to vote. I hope her good luck wears off on the Chiefs, though, because I don't want to see the Chiefs win another Super Bowl.
You don't want to see them three-peat? Then they'll hold the record.
No. I want all those records to remain with the Patriots. The Patriots never three-peated.
Right. There's a group of teams that have done the back-to-backs.
Yeah.
My team's in it. The Niners have done it. The Packers have done
Patriots
it.
were the last ones to do it.
Yeah. The Packers were the first to do it because they won the first 2 Super Bowls back-to-back.
Yeah. The Broncos did it.
Did the Steelers do it?
Yeah, I think the Steelers did it. The Cowboys did it.
I was going to say, I think the Cowboys did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not going to be the 49ers or the Patriots this year.
Nope. They are both teams not great. Not great performances. Not even going to the playoffs.
I'm riding with the Lions.
I know. Well, I would love to see the Lions win the Super Bowl because they've never won ever. And it's kind of like, a Cinderella story. They have sucked for how many years? I mean,
almost every year. I mean, and when you go way back in history, I think like before the Super Bowl.
Have they ever been good?
I think they won a championship as like before the Super Bowl.
In the way back, long ago?
Like the 40s and 50s or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, so they have sucked for so long, it would be nice to see them in there.
And anything Eminem is, associated with, he's a big
We'd get to see Eminem! Then people wouldn't have to bitch about seeing like Taylor Swift in there.
How sad is it going to be though? Like Eminem's going to be a grandfather.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Well, yeah, but he's around. He's our age. He's a Gen Xer, so I mean that. Actually, he's not. That's not.
No, it's not
that old though to be. It was crazier when it was announced that Lauren Boebert was going to be a grandma because she's like upper 30s at the time.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, she had her kid when she was in high school, and then her kid's in high school, and he was having a kid.
Yeah, that was like
yeah.
That was like John Mellencamp was like a grandfather in his 30s too.
Yeah, it's like so. Eminem becoming a grandpa in his 50s is completely normal.
Bernie Sanders.
My favorite senator.
Because Bernie is the one with all the shit that's been going on with healthcare over the last few weeks and the murder of the CEO. We learned that Bernie was not, we didn't learn, we always knew, but Bernie was right.
Bernie has been saying this. Folks, if you were like a fan like I was and went to like some of his rallies, you would have heard all this stuff years ago. Like he's been saying it. He's been saying it before I found out who Bernie Sanders was in 2013 when I bought my Jeep and it came with Sirius XM. And he would be on Brunch with Bernie on the Tom Hartman show. And he said all this stuff back then, so I'm sure he said it even before then. This has always been part of who he is.
Yeah, to tie it all the way back to the hostage situation. My mother worked for Bernie Sanders' campaign when he was running for mayor of Burlington.
Oh, okay.
And so one of the hostages was from Burlington, and when they got released, I went to a rally and I was able to stand like 15 feet away from Bernie while he gave his, little speech. I don't remember if I actually met him or not, because I was 11. But I do remember the vivid memory of Bernie Sanders, and that always stuck with me. And I always followed his career after that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at how popular he is in his state. He wins his elections at over 70% every time. Yeah.
So, yeah.
He's doing something right. When I first heard of Bernie, like when he first came on to my scene, because I had no idea who he was, but I was like, holy crap. I took it as immediately. I was like, this guy is an insider because he's had a political career damn near all of his life. He's telling us what they're doing. Like he's letting us know, hey, you guys are getting fucking ripped off. This is what we need to do to make the scales fair.
What Bernie did was when like the magician came out and did like the card trick to us last night. Bernie's the one that would explain how he did
How
it.
he was able to do that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And people just, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know why so many people were willing to like push Bernie off to the side and be like, oh, he's a socialist communist. But then they'll believe like the whole we need to drain the swamp thing when it's like coming from Trump. Like, I don't get it.
But at the same time, when what happened to the CEO, they kind of are like, well, yeah, that guy deserved it. You know what I mean? Because healthcare rips you off. I'm like, yeah, Bernie, that's what Bernie was saying. You know?
And yeah, minus the thing that like the guy deserved
Yeah,
it.
no.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bernie wouldn't, endorse that. But
Right. And they shouldn't really be saying that either. I mean, the fact that that's what, when people say shit like that, that's the thing that makes me say the retort about the Second Amendment is like, I'm like, for some people, it is just the right to bear arms. But for some, it's more of like a right to kill if they see fit. Like, that's how they look at that, you know? And I'm like, okay, that's not okay. And I mean, it's hard to say how you would combat that, though, to figure out who's just the one to own guns and who's like, no, I want to be able to have these so I can kill you if I feel I am justified in it.
Yeah.
No.
Number 2 on the list, and thank God he came back to the Daily Show, Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart.
What got me through, and John was, he was off the Daily Show during the first Trump administration, but he had the show on Apple for a while. And
The
what helped
problem
with Jon Stewart. So what helped me during the first one, it was all the late night hosts, it was Bill Maher, it was John Oliver, it was all the comedians making light of it. But Jon Stewart, I think there was that one episode that you say that he should win the Emmy for that. How he just breaks things down, but he does it in a funny manner. But he's so on point with everything.
The thing that made it so great too, so it was done in a funny manner, but he was also to be serious and kind of like, what the fuck, I think that's why, because it totally nailed the point and got his point across, but like it allowed you to chuckle a little at the appropriate parts, but like you need to fucking be woke, I guess. I mean, like, it's kind of like wake the fuck up. There is something to being at least a little bit awake, people. Just a little, like just wake up a little. Just don't be fucking zombies, all right?
Yeah, and I think he signed like a 2-year extension on the Daily Show, so we'll have him. He was supposed to do it originally up until the election, but now he's going to do it into a couple more years, which thank God.
Yeah, we need him now more than ever.
Yeah, we need to laugh through this stuff.
I know. Like, I think that's probably what will end up happening, though, is I think we will be able to laugh a lot. It's just, for me today was rough because I'm like, oh shit, 20 days away. We're 20.
Yeah.
It was kind of like it's a crotch kick. Okay.
And number 1 on the list last year, overtaking Taylor Swift, our favorite congressperson from Texas, Jasmine Crockett.
Raise the roof.
Right.
She's hands down my favorite person to watch.
She makes C-SPAN fun to watch.
Hell yeah. And like, I think my favorite quote from her thus far is, Democrats need to quit bringing a butter knife to a gunfight. She's right. Like, we need to have more people standing up and being like, this is not okay. Or at least saying something to them.
Right. And for the longest time, even in Congress, it turns into like a second grade debate where people are calling each other names. She's the first one to stand up and not be polite. Like Democrats are always like those two gophers from the Warner Brothers, Bugs Bunny cartoons. Oh no, 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 you go first. You go first. You know what I'm talking about? Those two gophers.
Right.
Really polite. That's Democrats.
I know.
Hey, libtard. Oh no, 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 you don't mean that. Yeah.
Quit being so fucking nice.
Yeah. Jasmine Crockett will take it to you.
I know. Like, we need more of that, please.
Yeah. And she's bright. She's funny. And she's always spot on everything like that.
Total truth teller. And does it with fire and humor.
I mean, I'm already on the Jasmine 2028 train.
I know. Remember, like, when she first started doing her rants, I'm like, I can't wait to vote for her for president someday.
Yeah, I mean, because isn't that why we're in this situation? Because you wanted someone who tells it like it is?
Right.
Who's not afraid to speak their mind?
Well, and the thing, too, it's like, do the people in power really think that it's only, like, registered Republicans who want that? Like, average, everyday Republicans? Do they really think that, like, the average Democrats don't also want a fight in their elected officials?
Yeah.
I mean, do they really believe that? Sometimes I wonder, because I'm like, we want that too. We want somebody that comes out and is willing to fight and stand up and tell it like it is. Yeah. With actually telling truths, though, how it is. Because, I mean, you can have, on the other hand, where, sure, he's telling it like it is, but half the shit is lies, and it's been proven lies.
So, I mean, at least we're lucky to have Jasmine in Congress. And
Shiro.
Because I think Congress is going to be a shit show.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what, find some good amongst everything else that's going on.
At least I have lots of popcorn. I mean, so there's that.
Yeah. We'll sit and watch it, watch the world burn.
Yeah.
Just sit back and eat popcorn and
stay warm with the dumpster fire.
But maybe that won't happen.
I hope it doesn't. Look, I'm trying to be as positive as I can. It's just, when you hear all the constant, like all the things that experts say, well, this isn't going to be good. That's not going to be good. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to remain positive, but I know for a fact that I know less than those people, because those people like fucking study this shit all the time. I mean, that they're like constantly studying the economy and whatnot, and I'm like, I don't know, I kind of think we should maybe listen to them. It's kind of like how I feel about scientists, because we live in Arizona and it's still hot as hell during the day some days, where I'm like, I'm really regretting wearing this undershirt today. And I'm supposed to be able to have my winter clothes on.
Yeah. And all these hurricanes and stuff like that.
Every time you turn around, there's a new one.
Yeah. Storms get bigger. Fires keep more fires.
I was really wanting to go to like Georgia and North Carolina, mainly Asheville, this year. And I'm like, probably going to have to put that off because it's probably still under complete wreckage right now from the hurricane that got all the way inland somehow.
Well, that was the outskirts of the hurricane. That was the rain did that.
Right, but I mean, like it. So the rain was the cause of the hurricane, and Asheville is not like on the coast, right?
No,
it's further in.
It's a good 4 or 5 hours inland.
See, and that's just, and I realized it was from the rain, but the rain from a hurricane stretches. Like,
But hey, maybe humanity will get better. You know,
I wish I could believe that. I really do. Like, I
I do
wish.
too.
I mean, fingers crossed that that's what happens. But
All right. Well, we'll end on this. Do you have any resolutions for the new year?
I already started a lot of my stuff. Like, you know, it's on my list to be a nicer person. Like, not like try to have a little more patience and not react right away. You know. But I already started the other stuff. Like, I was like, that probably was prompted from my dad's stroke. Like, I was like, all right, you're going to start walking all the time and just living healthier.
Yeah.
You have any?
No, because I've got that like that dark, gloomy, like not knowing what's going to happen type of thing. You know, of course, like to be, get more successful at work. Maybe exercise more than I do now. Get this podcast into put a little more into this podcast.
Yeah.
No.
Those are all good goals.
Yeah.
You can still have those and also have, the anxiety in the belly.
Well, and it's stuff like this podcast, that helps take away from all that.
Right.
It's like therapy without therapist.
Cheaper than therapy.
It is cheaper than therapy.
Yeah. We'll have to try to come up with some good non-political. I think we should weave in some more non-political stuff next year.
We will, because we don't want to be doom and gloom all the time.
Plus, we want to stay a little bit off that radar in case that radar's out there to pick up.
I mean,
the lefty radar.
Yeah. I mean, because if they're going to come after journalists and media personalities, they're either going to start at the top or they're going to start at the bottom. And if they start at the bottom, they're coming after us first.
I just want to say that, we are, not professionals, though. We don't have degrees in that field and whatnot.
Yes. And to the president, we will say this. Elon, we were just kidding.
Yes, just kidding.
Yeah, just kidding, Elon. All right, on that one, we'll wrap up this one, the first one of the new year. There'll be many more, and we will talk to you later.
Happy New Year!
All right, Happy New Year. Bye.